Welcome to the Rungney YouTube channel. My name's Mike Boyd and I'm a professional punter climber.
Fucking hell!
I've had a unique apprenticeship with climbing. I've only been doing it 2.5 years or so, but in that time I've been coached by some of the best climbers in the world really. And in today's video we're going to break down what it was like, what was going through my head to be coached by these climbers. Alright, so the first pro that I met was Pete Whittaker, one half of the Wide Boys. A crack connoisseur, I would say. One of the finest, if not the finest crack climber in the world, potentially. Yeah, so here he's
this is the bit I'm worried about.
he's teaching me how to...
We have a bunch of friends.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever encountered friends, like cams from Wild Country. And I've never seen them before, and Pete's like placing them in the rock on the ground and I'm like tugging them to find out what a good cam is and what a bad cam is. I felt like I kind of took this on pretty quickly, but I didn't realise that the rock that we're climbing on at that particular route in the Peak District is like got these just perfect parallel cracks that just swallow cams, and I assumed like, well, trad climbing, it's going to all be like that. It's not all like that.
There's nothing left to do but to lead the climb for real.
So here I'm doing my first trad lead, and yeah, I was nervous here. Like starting with just 2 ropes. First of all, you're using 2 ropes. I've never used 2 ropes before. Starting with just 2 ropes dangling on the ground, and with nothing in the wall at all, no bolts, no nothing. It just seems mental if you're new to this. And you've got, for this route, I had to put in a red cam and then kind of traverse left, and there was like a huge fall below me, which ironically made the climb actually safer because I wouldn't hit the deck, but it just felt so intimidating. I think this climb was graded V diff, so what would that be in French? It's probably like 4B or something, maybe even easier than that.
I knew what gear
but
to place
still felt pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Pete is such a good teacher. Like Pete doesn't even claim to be a coach. Like he's just a crusher. But I thought he was an excellent coach. Really put my mind at ease. Really made everything really clear. And it was fantastic to see him climb. Like just yeah, especially at that point in my climbing, I'd never seen anyone who was like that good before. You know. Yeah, really interesting. When we met up with Pete, he was like, "Oh, bring a couple of quick draws," because I'm a little bit short. I was like, "Ah, no problem." So I brought like 12 quick draws and a clip stick, and he was like, "What is this for?" I was like, to clip the first like the bolt or piece of gear or whatever." And he was like, "But there's no gear in the rock. Like we're doing trad climbing." And I was like, "Oh yeah." It just really put it into perspective how much I don't know what I'm doing. As you know, this is the Rungney YouTube channel, and they are celebrating the launch fit with a giveaway. They're giving away 1 year's supply of this stuff every week for the next 2 months, and all you have to do to enter is subscribe to the Rungney YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, and leave a comment down below on this video, and you could be in with a chance of winning it. If you've never tried this stuff, trust me, it works. So the net after spending some time climbing with Pete Whittaker, I thought, let's get in touch with Dave Macleod and try and do some climbing with him. And we did actually go to a crag in Scotland called Polney Crag in Dunkeld. And I actually thought this lead would be my hardest lead because it was a very severe. But it turns out the one I did with Pete actually might have also been very severe. Can't remember. But basically, I mean, the grades are so all over the place. They just felt like the very severe I did with Dave just felt way harder. It was just like I thought it was quite. The first move was quite involved, and you had no gear in at the first one. So at this point, obviously, I've got a little bit of understanding of how to place cams, but I've never ever placed a nut. But Dave again, like the most interesting thing about Dave is he is exactly the same, like off camera as he is in his YouTube videos. Like he's the same guy. He's just this super methodical, logical, thoughtful, insightful guy off camera. Really interesting character, Dave. I've never met anyone who's so thoughtful about climbing, you know. Like, the devil is in the detail with Dave.
Rather than have a specific tutorial or lesson with Dave, the plan was to simply climb together and absorb as much as I could from him. Even belaying him was...
Yeah, another thing about Dave is, like, he's climbing like a VS. I think Dave hasn't climbed a VS for like 20 years. And he's like absolutely psyched. He's having a great time. He's like, oh, lovely bit of climbing here. And, you know, Dave's like a E11 9A climber, V15 boulderer. This must literally be like a walk in the park for him. But he's like, seems absolutely psyched to be out climbing. I don't know if he was putting that on or not, but he seems genuinely happy to be there. Yeah, and this one was a bit more intense. The climbing was a little bit more involved than what it was at the time with Pete. And getting the first bit of gear in was a little bit tricky. I was a little bit scared. But the gear here is bomber. So I did manage to get something in that was pretty good.
I would normally climb this, that it made the whole ordeal very awkward.
Yeah, and in this video here, I made a mistake. And it's something that I never even thought, a mistake that I didn't even think you could make. So I didn't slip or fall or place a dodgy piece of gear or anything like that. What I did was just not extend one of the cams over this like little horn in the wall, and the amount of rope ran around there. And at first it wasn't really a big deal, but as I got to the top of the climb, it was like the rope drag was absolutely horrific, to the point where I really couldn't climb. I had to pull rope up and then climb. And it just made me realise that with trad, there's just so much more to think about. Like, it's not about just placing gear. It's about thinking about, you know, rope management, because normally the pitches are actually really, really long. Like, this is a 30-metre pitch. And in Scotland, like, that would be the longest sport route I've ever done. But this is just a random, you know, route that just happens to be 30 metres long. So you really do have to think about your rope drag. I mean, you've got 2 ropes specifically to avoid that. Once you learn how bad rope drag can be with a poorly placed piece of gear, you'll try and never do it again.
Do not let ego or pride prevent me from bailing or down climbing if I got spooked.
Yeah, I actually down climbed because I was too scared. I went up a little bit and decided to bail, which I think is actually like a skill in trad, is deciding when to back down, you know?
That's good. This is the most bomber nut ever.
Oh yeah, and I place a nut and I literally look at the cameraman and say, that's never coming out. And I think that it's never coming out as in Dave's never going to be able to get it out. And then immediately climb past it and it pops out without any force at all. Yeah. Dave really taught me, like, with nuts, you really have to be like give it a proper tug to make sure it's in. And to get it out again, it's like a flick up the way. Like, you don't want to be gentle with nuts. They're passive placement, so you want to give them a good yank to make sure they're in. Yeah, here Dave's analysing like a move I did 40 minutes before that he's memorised my foot placement exactly and is talking about what I did wrong. Really, really analytical guy, and that, I guess that's why he's such a strong climber.
A couple of inches further across, there's one there and there's one there, and that made me think if his foot slips, then he could slip. So I would have preferred.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you can remember just from watching me climb whilst belaying.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, just one
right,
move.
But it's just that there's better ones on either side. So there's a good parallel crack a bit deeper into the crack there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but
Dave's commenting on my gear placement here, and this one's okay, but there's better ones either side, which is always something I forget when I'm doing trad. Like, yes, your cam can go in there, but 2 inches to the left of it is a better place, so do that one, not just the first place you find. Whereas I'm just like, that'll do. Really interesting experience climbing with Dave. I mean, he's someone I look up to massively, like Scottish climber who's, you know, who's an all-rounder, like not just bouldering, not just trad, not just sport, but also winter and mixed climbing. Like he's just good at all of it, and he enjoys it all. Really interesting guy. We actually have met up since then. We've done a bit of bouldering, and I think Dave's true love for climbing actually lies within bouldering, surprisingly, believe it or not. He's most known for his trad climbing, but he really is boulderer at heart. Also, Dave's just a lovely guy. Like, just such a nice person to be around. Yeah, and his wife and his daughter, like, we met them as well. They're just a lovely little family. Great people. So the third professional climber I spent time with was Matt Wright. Matt has just recently moved to Scotland, actually. He's moved to Dumbarton, and he is just blasting through all of the hardest boulders, sport grades, and hard trad routes in Scotland right now, and he's just on a complete roll. He must be in the shape of his life. He's basically doing what Dave Macleod did, probably in like the early 2010s. He's doing that now, like just going through Dumbarton and crushing all these like V13, V14, V15 boulders. It's incredible to see. He's also putting up a bunch of new routes, new hard trad routes in Scotland. Yeah, he's just on fire at the moment. It's nice to climb with someone who's like right now is like at the absolute peak of their career. Well, potentially, because yeah, he's just got an insatiable appetite for hard climbing. So Matt joined us at our local gym, indoor gym, which I don't think Matt was that psyched about climbing inside. Actually, I think Matt's like, I've never seen him climb inside. He's an outdoor guy all the way. And he came down with his fiancée Anna, who also is an absolute crusher. What we decided to do was just have a very unstructured lesson, really, where he would just watch me climb, and we would just see if he could give me any tips that would improve my climbing. But the first thing we actually did was like a really, really long, gentle warm-up. And when you meet Matt, you probably think Matt's the kind of guy that just wouldn't warm up, because he's so chilled, but he's actually like a super zoned in guy with climbing. Like, he's all about really fine details and like visualization and all, and like he's not quite what he appears at first sight. He's like super analytical and detail focused.
Matt walked me through his regular warm-up for limit bouldering.
Yeah, so the first thing we did was just like really long warm-up, like 10 times longer than what I normally do. We were doing weights and shrugs and horse squats and press-ups and all sorts, stuff that I never do. It really does make a difference to do like a really effective warm-up. Like, I felt really good going into this. And then Matt tries to climb like super easy boulders, like V0s, using absolute perfect technique. And ever since I've met Matt, I've always done that drill. And even slightly more focused than that, if I'm working on my footwork, or trying to quiet my feet down, I try to place it like absolutely perfectly. Always try to turn my hips, get my hips close to the wall. Ever since I've done that with Matt, I've just always done that drill to start. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic drill to warm up with. So at this point, I'd never climbed V5. So we found a V5 in the gym, and I'd looked at it and seen other people struggling on it. And I was like, Matt, do you think you could maybe give me some tips for that? And he was like, yeah, man, you could climb that for sure. And I was like, nah, no way. But the way Matt got me to do it was, what we did was we really broke down the boulder. And we didn't even try to go for the flash, which is really interesting, because normally I just start at the bottom, get up as high as I can, fall, and repeat. But Matt was like, no, let's work on moves in isolation. Let's start with the crux move, for example. And starting with what the crux is was so good, because once I got that move, I was like, I can do this boulder, because I can do the hardest move. And yeah, his process of approaching hard boulders was just so interesting to me. I'd never even thought about, coming up with a process of actually working a boulder, working on the crux, working on the top, working on the bottom in isolation. It sounds daft now looking back, but for me, this lesson was really like fundamental to my whole process of doing boulders and even routes as well. He made me do like a visualization, which I felt kind of daft doing, sitting down and like almost meditating. Like, he got me to take deep breaths and really focus. He's really into all that stuff. But I actually did feel really chilled before doing the boulder after doing that, and I got it on my first like ground up attempt. And he seemed genuinely psyched for me when I got it. I was really psyched. Really great climbing with that. I hope to do it again, because he's in Scotland. We should really climb more together. But he's always out doing like E10s or something, so he's hard to get hold of. Yeah, I'd definitely say this is my first, what felt like V5. Matt said it was probably around that grade as well. Maybe a little bit soft, but it's somewhere in that range. God, looking back at it now, it's pretty messy climbing. I think I'm a little bit tidier than this now. What was this, about a year ago? Yeah, this is about a year ago now. Oh, look how psyched Matt is for me. So sweet. Matt's the first pro climber who is actually a professional climber. Like, he makes his living climbing, but he's also a coach. He's the first climber who I climb with who's actually is a professional coach. And yeah, his insight and the way he breaks stuff down, it's obvious that he works with clients all the time. So he does a lot of training plans for people and things like that, and also helps you with problems that you might be having like in your climbing. So yeah, definitely if you're like if you're looking for that extra boost and Matt's style resonates with you from that video, get in touch with him, because he might have a spot open. Definitely worth looking into. Excellent coach, really, really good. So the next pro I climbed with was Tom Randal, the other half of the Wide Boys, to complete the whole Wide Boys climbing saga. Tom's a really, really interesting guy. Tom, I would say, operates with a little bit of tough love, which I kind of like. So I respond really well to like the tough love coaching approach. I remember my skin on this route, we were in the Peak District in Stanage, and it's a gorgeous place to climb, and my skin wasn't faring too well because we were doing jamming. I already told Tom, look, I can't jam and I don't want to do jamming, and he was like, no worries. So we went to the crag. What route has he picked out? It's just a crack with no footholds, no handholds. It's just jamming all the way up. I mean, like, I know he's a wide boy and all that, but like, they just can't see past the crack. Like, these guys are just addicted. So I remember my skin was like, I was pressing on with the jams, I was pressing really hard, and the skin, like, not even on the tips of my fingers, but actually on these pads, was just like worn away. And I remember sitting down with him and being like, Tom, I'm a little bit worried about this because I really don't have much skin left. And he was like, you don't need skin for jamming, don't worry about it. And also he was like, right, what's going to happen here is you're going to lead it from the ground, no top ropes. And I was like, right, okay. And he's like, because otherwise you just spend your whole time on top rope, and you never spend any time on lead, and then you go on lead and you're really out your depth. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then like fell off the first move. Like, I mean, it was the first move, so I wouldn't say it decked out, but like, there was no rope, right? And then Tom was like, I think what we'll do is we'll put one piece of gear in, right? And this is, out of all the climbs I've done, this is the biggest change from like first time trying it to next day sending, because it was an incredible transformation. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. The jams, I've just felt so hard, and then I sent it the next day, just complete transformation in my climbing. And Tom's just a brilliant coach. Like, he just knew what I needed at all points. He knew that I needed to be on lead, and this is a great place to be on lead because this crack is really, really safe. And he knew that placing gear, weighting the gear, giving me confidence to fall and all that, that's the way around for this climb.
Up for a bit, you place some gear, and then
Yeah.
you down climb, so you get good.
So he's trying to convince me now that we're just going to go on lead straight away.
Just slip off down climbing and get tired.
And of course, Tom brought out his classic no hands Beeley technique with like the Gree 1, like the first Gree that was ever released. He's criticised it for it all the time, and I've never seen anyone who just doesn't care more than Tom. Like, personally, I felt safe. Like, the Gree was weighted, the cam was up. I didn't feel like it was a problem. I did see that he was taking his hands off the brake strand and actually leaning on the working strand as well. But I didn't feel like it was shoddy, even though you should never do that. I think even Tom was thinking, maybe we might have bitten off more than we could chew here, because Mike doesn't look as good as he said he was. I told Tom I was about 6B climber, and he was like, getting slightly worried, but still not changing the
Really
route.
good progress already, though.
You think?
Yeah, really good progress.
What, falling off the first move?
Here he says, we're making really good progress, and I said, what, falling off the first move with no rope? And he goes, yep. He's like so focused on yeah, that's fine, that's what I planned. Yeah, I'm just really struggling on this route. It's just, the jams are so hard.
Cool, maybe do that one more time?
He's going to drop me further, isn't he?
No.
Ready?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I said Tom was tough love, but we are going in super baby steps here. And even after a while, he could see that I was in a bit of a hole, and he suggested maybe put a top rope in for a wee while, just to ease your
Okay, I'm just going to be real with you. I'm not feeling
ease
really
your mind
tall
a bit.
here.
No, that is completely normal.
Me and Tom had a difference of opinion on day 2. Day 2, I was sore. I mean, I've been jamming all day the day before. Never done really jamming before. It was really hot. My skin was bad. And Tom was like, we're just going to try this multiple times, get higher and higher each time, and hopefully eventually you'll send it. And in my head, I was like, nah, man, that is it. I'm sending it right now, or we're not doing it at all. So I don't think Tom was expecting me to top the route here, and he was so psyched for me getting it. I think he said it was like one of the best days out climbing he's had in a long time, which was really meant a lot to me, because it showed me, like, with all these pros that I've climbed with, they're so psyched for me doing, like, 15 grades lower than their limit, and they spend all their time climbing with other pros, but they're still psyched for me to get it, and they still seemed genuinely, like, excited by someone, at their limit, regardless of the grade. And I think this really shows well in this video here, where Tom is genuinely psyched for me to top out. He couldn't believe it. Like, neither could I, but he was genuinely like, wow, can't believe you did that. Yeah, I think it's probably my favourite day out climbing ever. Tom's a really great guy to climb with, really interesting guy to get to know as well, got a really interesting background. And the route that we did, left unconquerable, it's just an absolute classic. Brilliant day. Really loved it.
On multiple occasions.
And you're just wondering why you're here.
Yeah, you feel really stressed.
Yeah, and here I'm telling Tom that I'm feeling crap. I'm
climbing.
feeling stressed, not enjoying it. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, totally normal thing to experience. And he said something like, I sometimes feel like I don't even like climbing. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm feeling right now, I'm feeling like I don't even enjoy this.
Yeah,
This
good.
route's such a banger. I need to go back and do it again. So good. If you've never climbed on the Gritstone,
Yeah,
book a
really
holiday,
good,
because
like-
it's just brilliant. So good. So good.
Come on. Yes, there you go.
So yeah, this is my first E1.
Bring those feet through.
And I've never done any trad climbing since. But yeah, just like an amazing experience for any climber to get their first E1 in the UK. It's an important milestone. Yeah.
Legend. Come on.
I go absolutely ballistic when I top out here. There's a woman walking her dog, and it's just a flat surface on top, so she just sees this like short Scotsman climb over the top and just go absolutely insane, scream at the top. She was quite sweet though. She was like, oh, nice send, man.
One of the more memorable climbing memories I
Yeah.
have.
Tom says one of the most memorable climbing memories he has. That's sweet. Really nice. When we were climbing with Tom, it rained, and it's immediately stopped raining, and there was nice sunshine again, and that just created the perfect conditions for like 8 billion midges to hatch, and we got swarmed to the point where I couldn't even breathe, and I got over 200 midgie bites, which is quite interesting because yesterday that happened to me again, but in Scotland. I've got so many of them. I just complete, like, out of nowhere, woof, thousands and thousands and thousands of midges biting me. I was bouldering, I just can't do it anymore. I just have to go home. It's impossible. So next is another entirely new experience for me. We like just fly over to Mallorca to meet Hazel Findlay, who's just there preparing for an altitude retreat. She's got a couple of days free, and we're going to do some deep water soloing. And I have no idea what I'm doing. And I think me and Hazel were a little bit surprised at how scared I was to jump off like even slightly high rocks. I thought I'd be fine with that, but actually it was a little bit more of an issue than I thought.
I've not done any deep water soloing at all, so I want to get...
Hazel again is like a professional coach.
Yeah, fair enough.
She has a company called Strong Mind, and it's all about like the psychological factor of climbing. It's not so much focused on like physical training, but more about like training your brain. So it's a really good resource. She makes some really good resources. Definitely check it out if that's something that you're struggling with.
Your arms out. That's how you're gonna like wrench something. Don't try
So
and
here
push
she's
it out.
teaching me how to fall into the water, like
So how do
pencil
you
shape.
feel about jumping in here?
Man, I really need to lose some weight. That's the next thing I'm going to deal with.
The bottle, that side is a bit too much, yeah.
I think Hazel said when she saw me climbing for the first time, she thought I wasn't as good as I said I was. But then she realised I was scared. And when you're scared, man, you just can't climb. It's just totally erodes your ability to climb.
Yeah, now I'm not going to ask you to do that, because that's not going to help anyone.
See, Hazel's a really interesting character because she's so softly spoken and she's so gentle with her coaching approach, but she's such a monster when it comes to climbing. Like, she's just such a beast, and she's bold as well. Really bold climbing she does. She's done some really. I think she's recently just climbed E8 again after having a baby. And I think the baby was at the crag when she climbed E8 as well, which is just so cool. Hazel's daughter was also here at the crag. Like, they just do not let parenthood affect their climbing at all. She's just like breastfeeding straight on E8. It's so badass. Yeah, here I'm topping out my first DWS.
Right now, yeah, I'm effectively on-sighting.
Such a good experience. Mallorca is such a cool place to go DWS. Just like, water's perfect, weather's perfect, crag's perfect, food is amazing. Nice.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah, really psyched.
First one, buddy.
Thing about DWS is you kind of need, I feel like you kind of need to go with someone who can show you how to like get in and out and your entry and exit, and you know how to fall and stuff if you're not that good at it. I guess there's people who are really confident around rocks around the sea, but there is a skill to actually getting to the climb, which can sometimes be, if you're doing an easy climb, getting to it can actually be harder, and then getting out is something you need to think about, because obviously there's these swells and you don't want to get trapped like against or under the rocks. So Hazel spent time with me teaching me how to do that stuff. It was, yeah. I felt like I needed that. Yeah.
60 plus is on the limit for me, especially on
And then
site. I don't
like
think
2
I've
days
ever
before we had to leave, trying a 6C plus, which is a dyno start move, which is not something that I'm good at. Yeah, this is called Rich Bitch. I think it's at Calamitiana in Mallorca, and this is the hardest flash I've ever done. It's like C plus. And it was DWS. I think I only flashed it because it was DWS, because I just didn't want to fall. But it's only 8 meters this, or 8 to 10 meters. So it's actually a pretty safe fall. So if you're in Mallorca, give that route a try. You can see how psyched I am when I top out. Absolutely psyched. Yeah, I feel like, you know, Hazel's approach working with me here was really, really useful. You know, very, very slow, methodical introduction to jumping higher and higher and higher, and telling me that, you know, her and Chris Sharma and stuff, they can do these crazy 9A routes above the water at 30 meters because, like, that's their comfort level. They're not just crazy. They're not insane. They're operating. They're doing the same thing as me, but just at a higher level. You know. So Chris Sharma is comfortable falling at 25 metres into the water, and he can do that safely, and he's comfortable that he can get himself into a position where it's safe. Whereas for me, that height is more like 10 metres, and that's okay. There's plenty of routes at 10 metres that you can do where you can stay somewhat within your comfort level. And then obviously there's a point in DWS where you go above a position where you're prepared to fall, and you switch into like the free solo mindset where, you know, you're falling here is not really something you want to do. Hazel's approach is really, really interesting. Like very, very, very slow, just edging out of the comfort zone, working on specifically, you know, falling in and climbing in a position where you feel like you could jump in, and then sort of going into that area where you're starting to top out and you don't want to fall. Great experience climbing with Hazel. Definitely would check out her Strong Mind courses as well. Brilliant. But yeah, on this trip, Hazel was like, Mike, you seem stressed. You probably shouldn't jump from this height. And I was like, Hazel, no, I want to push it. I want to show you that I can do this. I want to show you that I'm psyched for this. But I was scared, and she was telling me, you know, don't get too stressed. And I was like, no, I want to do it. I want to show you that, you know, I'm keen. And I jumped from a height that I just wasn't that height. I wasn't that psyched on jumping. It was just a little bit too high. I messed up the pencil and just went butt first, and just got like a complete seawater enema, which I didn't even know was possible. And I remember coming out and being like, what is wrong with my arse, to Hazel? And she was like, I think some of the waters went up your bum. So that does happen, yeah. So listen to Hazel, she knows what she's talking about. And she's never had a seawater enema apparently, so yeah. Unpleasant experience, I would say. Thank you very much to Rungney for having me on the show. I appreciate it. If you are interested in winning a year's supply of Mag Dust Chalk, all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment down below, and you'll be in with a chance of winning. Thanks very much. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.